seats and we'll get started on the program. Again, Rick Blackwell, I'm president here at DeSales, and I do want to let you know that now we are being live streamed. So we were not prior, but now we are. So best behavior, Ms. Trigg, best behavior. We're live streamed here. So I want to thank you again for coming tonight. I want to thank you for coming out, supporting your families, your friends, Code alumni, and thank those who were watching live stream for joining us as well. I'm going to take a minute to thank our sponsors. Tonight's platinum sponsor, Highland Insurance, Tim Highland, class of 66. Gold sponsors, Prism Realty, Valuation and Consulting, Mark Mitchell, class of 80. Our partners at the Catholic Education Foundation, Bramer Group, Don Bramer, class of 82. Silver sponsors, A.L. Hansen, Ken Mulch, Ross Smallwood, class of 81, Michael Smallwood, class of 70. SCJ Consulting Services, Steve James, class of 82. ACO Incorporated, Leonard Heiser, class of 77. And James P. Hickey, CPA, class of 75. Thank you. In June, DeSales went mask-free, and we were trying to decide what COVID protocols, if any, we would need for this new post-vaccination school year. Do we still take temperatures, clean desks after each class, keep dividers on our cafeteria tables? And last year I said it might be the most challenging of all times for educators and students alike. But in some ways this year may be even more challenging, as the dreams of a post-COVID school year were dashed as COVID infections surged. And once again we found ourselves struggling with what do we do? And what do we do with this event? And so tonight, out of abundance of caution, we settled on a hybrid approach, invited a smaller crowd, and we're joined with our live stream audience. Though challenging, it's still a great time to be a Colt. And as president, I'm so proud of the work that has been done to continue offering an education rooted in the values of faith, brotherhood, and tradition. The darkness of the pandemic offered us an opportunity to let our light shine. And let me share just a few examples of that excitement. Our basketball team won the Louisville Invitational Tournament for the first time in school history last year. We had only reached the final one other year in school history. Our baseball team beat every Catholic school in the regular season, won the regional tournament. Yeah, that's worth doing, every Catholic school. Won the regional tournament, reached the state tournament, and had the most wins in school history. Our soccer team just won district and advanced to the region for the first time since 2014, and they're playing as we speak in the regional semifinals. Still 0-0. Don's taking one for the team and watching it online here, so we're good. This year we brought in a freshman class of 110 students, breaking the 100-student marker for the first time since 2007. Combine that with a healthy dose of upper-class transfers, and we're proud to say that our enrollment is right at 350 students, up from last year's beginning enrollment of 325. While some schools moved away from providing live instruction for their students who've tested positive or in quarantine, DeSales has embraced the technology that allows these students to join us from home and fully engage in their coursework. Every classroom has a live camera and a smart speaker that allows students from home to see and hear their teacher and classmates, as well as speak to the whole class. We've had incredible success, and we're able to highlight our nimble approach to addressing the challenges that continue to come our way. And I am most proud of our incredible faculty, staff, students, and their families for their trust, their buy-in, their exemplary work ethic, as we continue to move forward in spite of the pandemic that we just cannot seem to fully shake. To all of our alums here and virtually, my hope is that you're always proud to call DeSales High School your alma mater. and I can assure you that you have reason to be proud today. Tonight marks the 21st Annual Hall of Honors Awards Dinner. Started in 1992, the ceremony became an annual event in 2005. After tonight, 73 DeSales alumni, faculty, and friends will have been inducted to this esteemed group. The designation of Hall of Honors inductee is the highest distinction bestowed by DeSales High School. Members of the Hall of Honors have distinguished themselves and DeSales through their outstanding accomplishments, character, and commitment to the mission of DeSales High School. In 2010, DeSales introduced 3 new awards: the Outstanding Service Award, recognizing an individual's extraordinary dedication to DeSales; the Young Alumnus Award, recognizing an accomplished graduate 30 years of age or younger; and the President's Award, recognizing an exemplary faculty member of DeSales High School. If you're a previous inductee or award winner, please stand. I know we have some in the audience. Very good. And if you're a previous winner and you're online, please let us know in the chat feature. Tonight, we have our guest speaker, Don Bramer, DeSales class of 1982. Don Bramer graduated in '82 from DeSales High School and is the founder and chairman of Bramer Group. Don is also a veteran of both combat and Capitol Hill, having served the offices and the campaigns of U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell at both the state and national levels. Bramer has worked at the state and national levels for several presidential and congressional campaigns, as well as gubernatorial races in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and continues to be actively engaged in the political process. After 9/11, Bramer left the political arena and enlisted in the U.S. Navy, joining a family heritage of military service stretching back to World War II. For his tours in Iraq, Bramer was awarded numerous commendations. In 2009, he received his commission as a naval officer and continued his service as a member of the Reserve Intelligence Staff of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He resigned his commission in 2020 after 18 years of service. Don completed his undergraduate studies at the University of Louisville and has a master's in strategic public relations from George Washington University. He contributes routinely to Fox News and Fox Business on national security, congressional, and military matters. Today, he serves as an advisory council member of the U.S. Veterans Initiative for Homeless Veterans, an advisory council member of Veterans Campaign, founder and executive director of Defend Our Nation PAC, co-founder and executive director of American Freedom Fund, and as chairman of the Bramer Group, continues to advocate on issues that relate to defense, intelligence, and small and medium manufacturing. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Don Bramer.
Rick, you shrank my words, and now I know why you were joking. So good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to thank Rick and to thank Brian and the rest of the alumni for the incredible and humbling invitation to be here tonight. But I also want to congratulate Brian, for many of you don't know, on the newest addition of his family, his new baby girl. And so it's been many years for me since I've walked the halls of DeSales, like many of you. A lot of great memories, some not so good, you know, being caught by Coach Burke or Coach McAnally with Copenhagen in your front pocket, visiting Mr. Winkler, but the good parts of DeSales, the ones that we carried with us every day. You know, they taught us how to have a compass and how to plan our life and to move forward. And for a lot of us at that age, you know, we wrote it down, we put it on a piece of paper, and we tucked it away somewhere. Years later, actually recently here with COVID, I was cleaning out my desk and I came across that tattered piece of paper, and some might think of that piece of paper as a map. And for those who have a military background, with every map you need a compass. Today they would call that a GPS. Probably the younger folks don't know what a compass actually is. But the one thing you have to understand is my compass was my moral compass. And that was the compass that was created by the faith and the brotherhood here at DeSales High School. Now, like many of us, the map doesn't go as planned, and life happens, world events happen in my case, but I also had to remember that God had a plan, and God had to allow me to sit back and realize that sometimes you just have to let go. And in my case, there were three very pivotal waypoints, if you will, that guided that path. One was my internship with Senator McConnell. The second was the beginning of Gulf War I, and then for a lot of folks in this country, in this world, the third was that September morning of 9/11. So as I walk through these three waypoints, and if you'll indulge me, I'll kind of give you a little brief story at each point that will follow a path. Now the first happened, and it's a little kind of humorous, my second week of an intern for Mitch McConnell. He was a junior senator, and I had been there just a few days, worst snowstorm in D.C. for years. Come back from a hearing, there's a Post-it note on my desk, and all it said was, "See me, M." Well, to a 20-year-old, a Post-it like that, your heart drops. And you're like, well, what have I screwed up now? Later that night, I got the courage up. The only thing on was his light. So I walked in, knocked on the door, and the senator was sitting crossways in a large wingback chair, glasses perched. And he cordially said, "Well, how's it going?" I said, "Good." He said, "Well, we have a predicament." Well, heart sinks again. Okay. He said, "Well, our press secretary quit today. Do you think you can handle the job?" Of course I said yes, not knowing what I was getting myself into. But he put faith in me, and as I walked out of the door, he said, "Welcome to Washington. 50 square miles surrounded by reality." And that is a line that I still use to this day. And that was the beginning, a trajectory in government and politics that was never on the original map. Moving forward a few years, I started getting homesick. Kentucky called me home. So I accepted a position for Congressman Larry Hopkins as he decided to run for governor. The great thing about that campaign is I was given the opportunity to visit all 120 counties of this great Commonwealth, to meet people from coal miners to factories to mechanics to welders, to really understand the very fabric that makes this state. But one night, we got called to Oldham County High School. We were in the middle of Gulf War. The congressman, he's at the Lincoln County dinner giving a speech, and we get a call. We slipped him a note, and then a few minutes later, he's shuffling off, and we walk out to the van with he and his wife. The driver, I told, "Get in the back seat, I'm driving." We're going down I-64 and maybe excess of 90 miles an hour. His wife, Carolyn, leans forward and she taps him on the shoulder, and she's like, "Larry, does Don have to drive so fast?" And he stops. "Hold on, Mr. Secretary." It was Dick Cheney at the time. He says, "Carolyn, we're in the middle of a damn war. Sit back, drink your Diet Coke, and shut up." So we made it to the airport. The congressman got off to D.C. I can assure you that the rest of my evening driving Carolyn back to her house was a lot quieter and a lot slower. So fast forward. It's 2001, tragic day in September. I can honestly say that incident changed the world for me, and I wouldn't be here today, and I wouldn't have had the accomplishments and the successes that I've had without that day, which is sad to say. But within a few months of 9/11, I had arranged everything in my life so that I could raise my right hand. And if you do the math, I was no spring chicken at the time. It was not easy. It took a lot of obstacles. It took a lot of faith. And in that faith, some of the people who had been my mentors up to those years stood up, wrote the letters, and allowed me to move forward. So soon after that, I was recruited, profiled, to go into the intelligence community. And I was recruited to a command that would later provide on-the-ground HUMINT, or human intelligence, to the SEAL community. So when you enter the HUMINT community, you go through this morality waiver. First day of class, you walk in, there's a large auditorium, and there's a piece of paper face down on the counter. They say, "Everybody sit down at once." They say, "Roll it over." And they say, in signing this paper, you acknowledge that as part of this new career path, you're going to test, again, your moral compass. By signing this, you acknowledge that your morals will be put to a test. You may have to manipulate, you may have to lie, and you may have to do things that go completely against what you believe in. Some people got up and walked out. I stayed. I mean, the opportunity to be a spy, who wouldn't? So we take it. As you can imagine, this was not an easy task. After numerous combat tours to the Middle East as an interrogator running sources throughout that region, there were many days where my moral compass, my faith was put to a test. Military members often have a jaded, dark sense of humor. We get ridiculed for that. Actually, I'm no different. But there's one incident in the Middle East that always humors me. Middle of the night, we go out in a helo. We land a few clicks or kilometers from our target. And we go to the house. We flashbang it. We go in. We catch the bad guy. We bag him, tag him, bring him back on the helo. A few hours later, we're out of processing, and he's sitting in his cell. Pull his hood off. He had never seen any of us before. So we go through the routine questions, name, family, and then summing it up, we go, well, do you have anything to say to yourself? And he looks up, and he goes, well, Captain, he goes like, next time I get arrested or picked up, can I bring my family? They've never ridden on a helo either. So he obviously didn't appreciate the severity of the situation he was in. And I tell you, it was really hard to keep a straight face and maintain that serious of an interrogation. But running sources in that region, it's tough. Interrogations were tough. Every day, it would tear a little bit of your soul away because you had to go and you had to be someone else. Because if you were yourself, you would not survive. In the spirit of combat, it's you versus good or evil, and you have to pick that side. You manipulate. You have your sources die. You send people away to prison or worse. And coming home after my last deployment, my compass was broken. I was broken. And at one point in one night, I was seconds away from being another casualty of that unspoken war, PTSD. And my story could have ended there, but it didn't. God had a plan, and I talked about this plan. It was my faith and the brothers who I had served with who were there before me, and over the next few months guided me and helped my compass get back on course. Later that year, I accepted my commission and once again raised my right hand to this nation. It was what I called my graduation from that earlier period of my life a few months before. I again transitioned back into the reserves and became a contractor in the intelligence community. I had the honor and pleasure of teaching an entirely new generation of intelligence professionals. Years of working in the government, the military, and intelligence arena had allowed me to become an advocate for all three. Advocacy had become a passion. That passion became a reality and is what is the cornerstone and the DNA of Bramer Group to this day. I have been blessed to now have members of Congress reach out and seek our advice, our counsel, on issues of national and foreign security. This influence offered me another opportunity, but it forced me to once again overcome my demons, to go where I could actively talk about my past and the things I had gone through, so that I could share with enlisted people, officers, as they transition from deployment and transition out of the military, to let them know that they were never alone. Through its softball, any of our programs, shooting teams, hiking, gaming, to at least let them know that they can pick up their phone and realize there is a place for them and they are never have to go through that again. Military members want to fix themselves. They think if they go home, they lock the doors, they can heal, and it doesn't work that way. Our mission is to give them a new family and allow them to have that sense of belonging again. So as I come to the final parts of my remarks tonight, I just want to say thank you. The map I left DeSales really didn't change. Like many maps, I just folded it wrong. I was looking at it from a different angle. The moral compass that nearly destroyed me is the same compass that healed me. So today my course continues at home in our nation's capital. My mission of service to this Commonwealth and this nation looks to a new horizon that has yet to be discovered. We must trust ourselves in our values and know that we live in the greatest country that God has ever created. We, each of us, must never stop fighting to make it a better place. Remember that any insignificant act, no matter how small, can save someone's life. Thank you. God bless and have a good evening.
I'll be joined with Brian Riley, DeSales Associate Director of Alumni Relations, who will help present our first award of the evening. Brian is a member of the class of 2005. The 2021 Young Alumnus Award winner is Corbin Maynard. Corbin is a member of the DeSales class of 2011. His favorite memories of DeSales are playing in the All-A Basketball Classic as a junior and senior, playing in the Holy Cross game his senior year, and attending senior retreat and attending graduation. Following a fantastic high school career, which saw Corbin shine as a 3-year varsity starter and team captain, Corbin enrolled at Bellarmine University, where he became a standout basketball player. While at Bellarmine, he worked his way from a walk-on to a scholarship player in his final 2 seasons. Maynard appeared in 2 NCAA Division II Final Fours in 2012 and 2015. He was a key part of Bellarmine's accumulating a 107-22 record during his 4 years. Yeah, that's worth it. During his senior campaign, 2014-15, he was named a team captain and to the NCAA Tournament All-Tournament team. He accumulated 50 steals that season, which was second best on his team and 8th most in Bellarmine history. Corbin graduated from Bellarmine in 2015 with a degree in communications and a minor in business administration. He's also earned a master's degree in sports administration from Eastern Kentucky University in 2020. He's currently the director of basketball operations at Eastern Kentucky University, where he has been on the coaching staff since 2018. Prior to EKU, Corbin made stops at Spring Hill College and Aspire Academy. In his time at EKU, Corbin has been part of a staff that has broken 18 program records. Most notably, in 2020, EKU led all NCAA Division I programs in the state of Kentucky with 21 wins. EKU started 6-1 in conference play, which was the best winning percentage in 72 years for the program. They also started the season 14-2, which was the best start in 74 years. Eastern Kentucky University's men's basketball head coach, A.W. Hamilton, said, "Corbin is smart. He's a hard worker, and he's loyal. He'll be an assistant coach in the near future, whether it's here at Eastern or at another Division I school. He's a really bright future. He has a really bright future in the profession." Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in honoring our 2021 Young Alumnus Award winner, Corbin Maynard.
How's everybody doing tonight? I don't want to come up here and waste too much time. Just first off, I would like to thank the committee for voting me. When President Blackwell called me, it literally brought tears to my eyes. Anybody that knows me knows how much DeSales means to me. This place is special. It's one of a kind. I'd like to thank my family for the sacrifices they made to let me attend here at DeSales. My fiance for being here to support me. Coach Mingus, my brothers back there, Doug, Richie, and Corum. Met these guys here. They're going to be lifelong friends. So I'm going to tell you all how I ended up here right now. So when I was 12 years old, I'm a typical boy. I'm playing multiple sports. One Saturday morning after my youth league basketball game, 2 guys approached me, Mullaney and Milt Tandy. Say, "Hey, we're starting an AAU program called the Louisville Colts. We'd love for you to come try out for the team." So I talked to my parents. I'm like, this sounds like a great opportunity. I want to do it. So I came here, I tried out, made the team, and for the next 3 years, that's what I did. I played AAU basketball with Louisville Colts right here in this gym, got to know guys, fell in love with Mo and Milt. So in the 8th grade year, just like every other 8th grader, comes a choice. What high school do you want to go to? So for me, it was between Mel and DeSales. And for whatever reason, it's really my mom's fault, but I didn't shadow here at DeSales because like every 12-year-old boy, if your mom tells you, hey, you should go shadow, you're going to listen because 12-year-olds listen to their parents. So I didn't shadow, so I was like, man, I'm going to go to Mel. Went to Mel, first day of school, I didn't know a single person. I felt uncomfortable, 6 periods of just strangers. I came home that day and cried. I bawled. My mom was there supporting me. I pick up my phone. I call my uncle, who was, at the time was assistant principal at Butler. I'm like, hey, can I transfer? Like, this isn't the spot for me. He's like, yeah, there's a transfer list. I'll get back with you. So a week goes by. He calls me. He's like, hey, I have a spot for you. Do you want to still transfer? By this time, I've already made some friends, getting a little bit more comfortable with the school. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stick it out. My sister was a senior at the time. She was my ride to school. She loved it. Just had to give it a chance. October 15th starts. Coach Cruz's Mel basketball program. I try out. I make the freshman team. Got a bunch of studs around us. I'm excited. I'm thinking big picture. By my junior, senior year, I'm going to win a state championship here. We have all the pieces. We have the right coaching staff. But then October 15th starts moving forward. We start practicing, and I hear all these guys in the locker room talking about this damn JV coach. His name's John Mingus, and I'm like, oh, he's brutal. He's so rough. He has no filter. He tells you how it is. And in the back of my head, I'm like, all right, maybe this ain't the place for me. So I stick out my freshman season, just play freshman basketball. We have a good year. Season comes to an end, and thank the Lord, my sister and my mom had to go to a cheerleading competition, so they left on a Thursday. I didn't have a ride to school on Friday. I'm not waking up at 6 a.m. to get on a bus. Like that was too early for me. So I pick up the phone. I call Mr. Poole. I'm like, hey, Mr. Poole, it's about 8 o'clock. Hey, can I shadow DeSales tomorrow? And without hesitation, he's like, yep, I'll come pick you up right now. So he comes, picks me up. I stay with Jeff Poole. Wake up in the morning. I arrive right at the front office, and Coach Barney's there. Big smile, welcomes me. He hands me my little sticker. It says, hello, my name is Corbin. And Derek Thornberry is a guy I played 3 years with here. He's standing there. I get to shadow him. I've already known him for a while, so it made me feel comfortable. And as soon as I came in that first classroom, I knew this was the place for me. The teachers welcomed me with open arms. All my guys from Louisville Colts, they came up. They showed me love. Hey, man, you got to transfer. Like, this will make DeSales better. Our basketball program, we're going to help out. Like, we need you here. So I'm like, man, I feel like a superstar here. So as soon as I leave, I get on the phone with my mom. I'm like, Mom, this is a place for me. I love DeSales. Like, I want to be a Colt. So I become a Colt, head into my sophomore year, start summer basketball. Coach Hammond's the coach at the time. Right here in this gym, I'll never forget it. I'm standing here, we're practicing, and somebody slides in that side door over there. Who y'all think it is? Good old Coach Mingus. He's back. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what is he doing here? So practice ends. Coach Hammond huddles us up. Coach Mingus walked to the circle. I'm like, I know you're not about to come over here and say something like he's part of the staff. Sure enough, he's like, hey, I want y'all to meet John Mingus. He's going to be the new JV coach. I throw my hands up. My heart drops. I'm like, I just ran from this dude at Mel. What's he doing here? So he gets the JV job. October 15th, we start practice again. I'm doing JV, a little bit of varsity. First night, opening night, we play here. I'm dressed JV. We lose the game. After the game, we go into the locker room. Coach Mingus is unhappy, and some of the words I heard from Mel about how strict and mean he was, it came out. Well, I'll never forget, he looks me right in the eyes and said, you're too effing cool to play. So I'm like, all right, first of all, I didn't play a single second this game. How are you mad at me? I stood over here, I supported my guys. They came out, I patted them on the back. What did I do? So I'm upset. Well, by the third game, I'm playing just varsity, have a good sophomore year, finish up the season. Well, we have a huddle at the end of the year. Coach Hammond says we're having a team meeting in the locker room. So we go in the locker room, and he's like, hey, guys, I just want to let you know I'm stepping away from basketball. I'm just going to be in an office position here at DeSales. So all of us are like, all right, who's going to be the new coach? Coach Mingus. He gets the job. So what does Coach Mingus do? Now here I started about 95% of the games as a sophomore. He throws me down to JV that summer. And I'm just pissed. I'm unhappy. I'm like, man, I just started. Like, what are you doing? So I'm playing JV, and I was a man on a mission. I didn't realize at the time what he was doing, but looking back now, it was for the better. So I had goals. I wrote them down every Friday, Saturday night. I was in this gym. I was working. I'm like, man, I'm gonna prove this dude. Like, I'm better than what he thinks I am. So October 15 comes. We're practicing. Right before our first game, we have a exhibition at Mel. We're playing Franklin County. I have a pretty good game. We reset the score after every quarter. Well, after the game, Coach Mingus is talking to us. And he's like, guys, I just want to let y'all know nobody has a guaranteed starting position on this team except for Corbin. And on the inside, I just lit up. I was like, man, this is the first positive thing he said to me. Like, I'm ready to go now. So he tells me that. As soon as the huddle ends, I go upstairs. I go to my parents. I'm like, you won't believe it. He named me the starting point guard. Junior year goes by. I have a good season. I start learning more about Coach Mingus and who he is. He wasn't just some tough guy. He was a big teddy bear on the inside, and he'd go to war for us. Senior year, I graduate. It comes time to choice to where am I going to go play college basketball at. There's a few different options. I wasn't really sure. But for some reason, I like giving myself difficult challenges, and Bellarmine was the place I wanted to be. But everybody I told that said, man, you're too small, you're not tall enough, you're not strong enough, you're not going to make it there. But one of the few people that actually believed in me was Coach Mingus. So I go to Bellarmine, walked on, and ended up being part of 2 Final Fours. I left there as the winningest player ever. But looking back at it, I wouldn't have been able to achieve any of this if it wasn't for DeSales. We have people like Miss Trigg. She's one of a kind. Everybody that knows Miss Trigg knows that she supports her students. She challenges you. She pushes you. Every single home game, she sat right there, and she would call me my Spanish name, Alberto. She wouldn't call me by Corbin. Miss Trigg, I'll be honest with you, I might have cheated 1 or 2 quizzes, but I had to get that off my chest. You know that I don't like lying. But we got by. You prepped me for college because you set a deadline, and if you didn't make it, that was it. There was no second chances. Miss Quirk, same thing. You prepped me for college. I left Bellarmine with a 3.4 GPA, finished in 4 years. So I learned a lot here. I learned that the teachers, the staff, they truly care about you. I know I've gave Coach Mingus a hard time, but I didn't realize all the life lessons he was teaching me at a young age. I didn't realize that he was showing me tough love. He was teaching me how to become a leader. He was teaching me how to become a better man. He was teaching me to set goals and then go try to achieve them. I just took it as he didn't like me because I was immature, I was young. But this brotherhood at DeSales, it's one of a kind. You look back at that far table, those 3 guys. I'm going to get married here this summer, and those 3 guys be standing there right by my side. I love this place, and I'm just so thankful. So I just want to end this night on a little different note. I would like the coaches and teachers that when I attended DeSales were here to stand up, please. So Ms. Quirk, Ms. Trigg, Coach Mingus. I'd like to give them a round of applause. Because this award isn't just about me. This accomplishment isn't just about me. It's about you guys. You guys helped mold me into the young man I am today, and for that I'm appreciative of you. Thank you. Go Colts.
The 2020 Outstanding Service Award winner is Sherry Bowers. Sherry has been an invaluable and dedicated volunteer at DeSales. She's been a fixture at DeSales sporting events over the last 5 years. She helps to run the gate or in the concession stands or really any other area where help is needed during the evening. She's one of the first to arrive and almost always one of the last to leave, even after a full day of work at a real job as a healthcare worker. Sherry is a true definition of a DeSales volunteer. She spends seemingly all of her free time here at DeSales events to ensure that everything runs smoothly. There's never a dull moment in athletics, and Sherry is quick to step in whatever role needs to be filled. She is a vital member of the DeSales community and has made DeSales a better place because of her enthusiasm and dedication over the years. And yes, she also helps to keep her husband, Athletic Director Don Bowers, in line. We're lucky to have Sherry at DeSales, and in true fashion, Sherry will be celebrating her award tonight by changing and working the concession stand in Game 2 of the regional soccer tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in honoring our 2021 Outstanding Service Award winner, Sherry Bowers.
Thank you all so much for the honor of being named Volunteer of the Year. As many of you all know, I'm not a public speaker, so this is going to be very short. To be honored as a Volunteer of the Year, when surrounded by so many great volunteers and staff, means so much. Spending time at DeSales began as a way for me to be part of my husband, but quickly it turned into a place to grow new friendships that have grown into a new family. I am grateful for all the DeSales community has blessed me with throughout these past 6 years. Thank you all.
The 2021 President's Award winner is Tom Cruise. Tom is a native of Bloomington, Illinois. He attended Normal High School, graduating in '74. While in high school, Tom participated in football, basketball, baseball, National Honor Society, and the Letterman's Club. Tom graduated from Indiana University in '78, where he studied physical education and health. While at IU, Tom was part of the Hoosiers basketball support staff. He then attended IU South Bend, where he earned a master's in secondary education. Tom is in his 14th year overall at DeSales as a social studies teacher. He's had 2 stints as the head basketball coach of the Colts from 1999 to 2005 and from 2014 to 2018. Tom is the all-time winningest basketball coach in DeSales history with a record of 193 wins and 109 losses over a 10-year career. He has also been named Coach of the Year 5 times in his coaching career. Tom's nominator cited several examples of his worthiness for this award. When many educators would dedicate less time and attention to detail later in their careers, Tom continues to strive to produce the best content he is capable of. Students are held to high standards. Tom's results are unquestionably outstanding. His AP scores speak for themselves. Students in his classes know that they're going to be well prepared to excel on the AP exams. A member of the class of 2021 remarked, "I'd like to thank Coach Cruise, who will forever be an inspiration for what I want to do in my life." Coach Cruise really pushes students to a deeper depth of learning in his classroom. He will, of course, ask students the what questions that are necessary for a foundational understanding of history, but will then, and more importantly, seek to equip students with the answer to the why questions as well. Tom's favorite memory of his time at DeSales include the teams he has coached over the years, especially the teams of 2003 and 4, 2004-5 that were ranked in the top 10 of the state and made it to the regional finals. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me to honor our 2021 President's Award winner, Tom Cruise.
I brought 2 pairs of glasses. I'm not sure which pair is going to work. Good enough. I was born in a log cabin that my father built. I always wanted to say that. It's not true. It's just a good way to start a book I read once. I just thought, I'm a history guy. I think one of our presidents started his memoir that way. So anyway, not true. When I started in coaching and teaching profession many moons ago, my number one goal was to excel in coaching. Teaching wasn't a part of my mindset whatsoever. Wasn't going to be a teacher. Coaching was my passion. I could tell you in 8th grade, I had decided definitively by 8th grade, I'm going to be a basketball coach. Even though it was kind of weird because I was better in football and I was better in baseball than basketball. But for some reason, I liked coaching basketball. Had it all planned out, guys. I was going to be a major college Division I basketball coach by the age of 27. Over the next 12 or 13 years, I was going to win 3, 4, 5 national championships. And then, with my interest in politics, I was going to use that fame to become a U.S. Senator. Skip the small stuff, governor and all that crap. And then, might as well become president. Boy, would we all been better off if that would have happened. Right, Jim? Right, Jim Cahill? Isn't that right, Jim Cahill? So I never planned becoming a teacher. I was going to go straight into college coaching, and I had the opportunity to do that. My father had been a college coach. I went to Indiana. Coach Knight offered me a position as a peon on his staff, but it was a start. But I was getting a degree in college and teaching, had to get a degree in something, so I student taught. Couldn't believe. I love this. Absolutely love it. Shoot, let's do this for a little while. Let's take a detour on that plan of fame. We can get back to that later. We can become president a little later, maybe. So started that. And then my teaching career started with, all right, you're teaching U.S. history 8th grade, and you're teaching world history or something 7th grade. Here's the book. Good luck. Never student taught, and that I student taught PE. Anyway, I fell in love with teaching, and but there's something kind of weird. When I was young, so we're talking 70s, there's a stereotype of athletes back then, might still be true to some degree today, but I don't think I hear it very often. But coaches and teachers, you're just a dumb jock. You're not smart. So my brother became a college coach too, and I was surprised when he became one because he had never told me he wanted to become one. I said, why didn't you? I said, I've been telling everybody since I was in 8th grade I was going to be coach. Why didn't you ever tell anybody? He said, I was embarrassed. Everyone just thinks you're stupid. So I don't know if a lot of you people realize that, but that's kind of the mindset. So anyway, what's that got to do with teaching? Well, I wanted to know part of that reputation. Anything I'm going to do, I'm going to try to do well. So from day one, I wanted to be a good teacher. I always have wanted to be a good teacher, even though my most passion was always coaching. But I've always worked hard trying to be a good teacher. And I've never really changed my philosophy of teaching. The core of who I am as a teacher and my teaching style, it's stayed the same. And I'm kind of proud of that because I think I'm good at it. But I've tweaked it, and I've tweaked it, and I've tweaked it. I always tweak it. And I'm still old-fashioned. I still give long tests, 100 questions. I still give 10 million quizzes. I still make them take notes. I still lecture, and so forth. But I try to be not just, when I teach, just stand up there and yak. And I try to get my students involved. I think I'm pretty good at that. Question them, make them think. And so it's more of a discussion, and I love telling stories, try to tell history in a story instead of just a bunch of facts. And I like to tell a lot of my stories to connect to them. And so anyway, so here are some of my beliefs about teaching. Number one, I believe being a history government teacher that I really need to know the subject matter. That's really a lot of details to learn all little details to make sure it's interesting. Number two, I really need to be able to make the complex simple. Number three, history is fascinating. It's my job to make it fascinating. Because I still remember history often is really boring. My high school history teacher was the most boring man I really liked him. He was the most boring teacher I ever had. I teach the same way in a sense, but you got to make it interesting. So you got to do all these different things. So, in other words, a lot of you guys are like, well, I never paid attention to history when I was in class. It was really boring. I hated it. And then you get older and you're like, oh, I love history, and I love the History Channel, and I wish I would have paid attention, and da-da-da. Well, it was the same history. Your history teacher must have been boring. Seriously. And plus you're young and you don't care. But the job as a teacher is make your subject matter interesting. So anyway. And number five, and this will be the last one. If I can follow my own notes. I need to get them to understand the relevance of what I teach and why it matters. So anyway, hopefully that's what I've been doing for the last, 40 years. Okay. So teaching and coaching have been very rewarding for me, my life. Don't regret it one second. DeSales in particular has brought a lot of really good people into my life. It's been really good for me personally as a teacher, as a coach, and as a human being. And even though this award is for teaching, I just have to talk about basketball a little bit, because after all, coaching is teaching. So, in case Mr. Blackwell missed this, I'm going to make sure they hear it again. But in my 10 years of coaching, we made it to the regional final 4 times. Pretty sure DeSales only made it to the regional final once or twice in all the other years combined. Just saying. We lost by 6 points, 3 points, 2 points, and 1 point. But when I reflect on my best teams at DeSales, and there were many really good years, it's amazing how they were loaded with so many outstanding young men. And by the way, they had some pretty damn good parents too. These are the type of young men that, how often I said to people, I said, shoot, if I had a daughter, I'd want, they could marry several guys that are actually on my team. I've had some teams I don't want some of the players to even talk to my daughter. These players were talented, they were smart, they were tough, and they worked extremely hard for 4 years to become better and better. They didn't come in as superstars. They didn't come in with everybody in town trying to recruit them. They just worked their rear ends off 12 months a year to become good and believed in what we were doing. You know, players like Thomas Britt and Ryan Crowdis and John Mingus and Chase Shellman and Adam Gassman, Chris Cahill, Michael Beasley, and I could keep going. I was afraid to put this in my speech because I was afraid I was going to leave somebody out, and I am leaving people out. And I've coached long enough that I've had a lot of teams that didn't have that quality of young men. And so those best teams that I had here, they were really fun. I mean, I've had good teams before, and it wasn't that fun because the quality of the player, they're all about themselves. These kids were all about team, and they're just outstanding young men. So I want to thank Dr. Quirk and Dr. Blackwell for this award. It's been an absolute pleasure working for them. I'm grateful for their support. I also want to thank being hired 22 years ago. Yeah, 22. The first time around that Marty Minot and Tony Medley and Jim Cahill and Jamie Finn, they brought me in. They hired me 22 years ago, and not only am I thankful they hired me, I'm thankful that they were just great people, and they're all here tonight. I was bummed out when I heard this was going to be virtual, because it's like, I want to see those people. I'm assuming they weren't going to be here. So when I walk in tonight and see them, I'm like, okay, this is awesome. This is great. I also want to thank John Mingus, because well, maybe I don't want to thank him since Corbin left. That explains a lot. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was out of coaching, and John hired me back to be his assistant coach. And that's a weird dynamic. He had been my assistant coach, and he had played for me, and we had well, with John, every relationship's a little fiery there, up, down, and all around. And I think John was probably worried that, I don't know how this is going to work. But anyway, he was brave enough to hire it. We had a blast. I had fun. It was great. I couldn't believe I actually liked being an assistant coach. But it was fun. But that was also one of my ways is I wanted to get back to DeSales. And I wanted the administration to get to know me, because they didn't know me anymore. It was all new. And it worked out. and I got to be teacher. And then, John left to teach and devote more time to his family. So I want to thank John for hiring me back. And here's a weird thank you. I want to thank Mike Swearingen, who's sitting over there. Mike's a teacher here, theology teacher here for 7 years, and now he's moved on. And anyway, the reason why I'm thanking him is because first of all, I taught him back in school here. So we came in together anyway. So one day, after school, I'm saying, all right, Mike, could you please explain to me you Catholics' stupid belief on purgatory? And, 20 minutes later, like, okay, that makes sense, okay? Next week, all right, talk to me about this stuff about saints and then Mary. Like once a week. And then finally I go, well, he's convinced me on every single point. Tell me why I should be Catholic, or why I shouldn't be Catholic. Anyway, I became Catholic, and it's all because of him. So, great decision in my life, big part of my life. So thank you for that. So, finally, it's just a real honor to win this award. I greatly appreciate it, and thank you very much.
Coach Cruz didn't know I had a young son who loved basketball, so we were at Louisville Gardens a lot watching those ball games. I saw you coach a whole lot before I came here. Our our Hall of Honors inductee, our first Hall of Honors inductee is Tim Keogh. Tim is a native of Nashville, Tennessee. He attended Father Ryan High School in Nashville, where he was valedictorian of his graduating class in '75. He then attended the University of Notre Dame, where he majored in biology, while also participating in Notre Dame Glee Club and Notre Dame Choral. Tim then attended Spalding University in Louisville, where he studied administration. He began his career at DeSales as a theology teacher at DeSales before becoming principal in 2001. Tim spent a total of 19 years at DeSales. He was instrumental in implementing the Teachnology program at DeSales, which provided laptops to all students in the school, the first in the state. That program has continued over 20 years and has grown over the years. Now every student at DeSales has an iPad to use, and all of our textbooks are digital. During his time in Louisville, Tim was also a music director at Guardian Angels and Resurrection parishes and played the music, most importantly, at our wedding. He also helped produce numerous community theater and music productions, many just down the street at Iroquois Amphitheater. Tim also spent time at Mercy Academy in Louisville, where I first met him, at St. Bernard Academy in Nashville, and was the principal of Holy Rosary Academy in Nashville during the 2007-2008 school year. Sadly, Tim passed away in 2008 excuse me, after a battle with cancer. His dedication to DeSales will always be remembered. As a teacher and administrator, Tim Keogh was constantly asking, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this? What's your overall goal? How are you reaching kids?" To be honest, that's not the way I remember Tim. The questions he asked me sounded more like, "What the hell were you thinking, RB?" Tim's siblings are here this evening to receive the award in honor of their brother. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in honoring our 2021 Hall of Honors inductee, Mr. Tim Keogh.
I want to thank everybody for honoring our brother. RB just said, do what Aaron said. That would be my sister over here who organized, as a history teacher and also teaching at Normal Community High School. Let us see one of us there go. Small world. Yes. My sister Erin organized this. Once RB called me last spring in middle of school, which I'm like, oh my God, what's the matter? He's like, I didn't mean to alarm you, but I want you to know that your brother, Tim, was selected to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, oh my God, that's wonderful, RB. He's like, now remember, it's Tim. So it was a fairly close vote. I'm like, I'm sure it was. Because my brother was big. I mean, physically, he was a big man. He had a big voice. You could hear him across this gym. I came here one time, and I'm like, good God. You don't need to have a bullhorn. You got your voice. But again, before I go further, I do want to point out that my sister Erin, she organized once Rick contacted us, and I'm like, okay, well, you guys want to come up from Nashville? She went, yeah. She went, I'll talk to some of our family and friends. So we have people here from Massachusetts, Illinois, California. So again, I think Eisenhower could not have done a better job logistically planning D-Day than my sister Erin did to get us all here. So I want to thank her for that. RB and I have been friends since 1985 when I first started teaching at Mercy Academy, my first job. And we were talking earlier tonight, and I actually found a picture of us. This is my last year of teaching. I'm retiring after 36 years. All good things must come to an end. And I found a picture of young Mr. Blackwell and I, and we both had more hair back then. And I remember the first time he saw me, I had no clothes. I came from undergraduate, so my mother, God rest her soul, she bought me a dress shirt. It was hot pink, button down, with my initials on the collar. That's not necessarily my personality. Anyway, he introduced himself. He sees me walk down the hallway with a hot pink eyes out, I think, and a tie and I think a red sweater, and I'm carrying a briefcase because my dad had an old briefcase. I had to put something in there. He's like, oh my God, who is this guy? So I'm like, yeah. But then we became dear friends, and then our second year there, we had an opening at Mercy. And it happened to be just kind of serendipity. My brother decided he was not going to finish up the seminary. And I'm like, well, hey, I heard from Mom you're looking for something to do. I said, we got an opening here next year in the theology department. Rick and I taught theology. And he's like, oh, okay. So he came, interviewed, and sure enough, he got the job. Little did I know he'd become our boss. Yeah. So he was my roommate, my big brother, and my boss all at once. And as Rick said, my brother, again, he was a big man. He had a big voice, and he had big opinions. and he shared those opinions with you, whether you wanted to hear them or not. And numerous times we would be together, and he would constantly ask us, how do you know what they're learning? How do you know they're really getting it? What are you gauging to make sure they're really understanding? Now, I got to be honest, your first 2 years of teaching, you're just trying to get through day by day. So I'm like, geez, Tim, cease and desist. I say, okay. And some of the terminology he was using at that time, authentic assessments. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Now, 36 years later, these are mainstream ideas. At the time, it was cutting edge stuff. And I'm like, my God, just relax a little bit, all right? But he couldn't, because for him, he was dedicated in making sure that all students, and again, that's something that my brother, who is wicked smart, but he was always interested in making sure all students were learning. And again, from the advanced classes to the low-level classes, again, to the mainstream, he was always concerned in making sure that, again, that kids were learning. So with that in mind, again, I just look back and all the years in education I've been and knowing where he was. And again, as I told him in the last few years, I'm like, I got to be honest, brother. When I first started teaching with you, I thought you were just a pain in the ass. And I just sometimes like, my God. But now I realize that what you were saying and pushing were things that made me a better educator. And I think all of his staff member would say that too. They also would tell you he could be a pain in the ass too, okay? But again, a man who was dedicated for one thing and one thing only, and that was to be the best teacher he could be. And again, also a model to be a Catholic school. And he was very proud of being the principal at DeSales High School. And again, on behalf of my family, I want to say thank you for this honor. And RB, thank you very much. Thank you.
Wondering what it was. Erin took it. Yeah, she's got it. She's got it. Of course she did. Hall of Honors inductee, our next Hall of Honors inductee is Neil Mullaney, class of 1982. Neil graduated from DeSales, that can't be. 83, yeah. I was going to say, yeah, my next line says Neil graduated from DeSales in 1983, so something's wrong with my script here. All right, sorry. So it's 83. Neil graduated from DeSales in 1983 as a DeSales student. Neil was a member of the soccer team. His favorite memory of DeSales is playing soccer with Coach Burke coaching. His favorite teacher at DeSales was Mr. Rick Newt. Neil's a veteran of 4 different conflicts. After leaving active duty, Neil began his reserve career with the Kentucky Air National Guard, serving as Chief of Intelligence Operations. He was later selected as detachment commander of the 205th Combat Communications Squadron, beginning a 16-year span in which he would command 5 different units. In 2000, he was selected to be the first commander of the newly formed 41st Civil Support Team, a unique unit designed to support civil authorities at the scene of incidents involving weapons of mass destruction. In 2003, Mullaney was named commander of the 123rd Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, and he deployed to Southwest Asia in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom, supervising maintenance of the 24 C-130 aircraft while maintaining a 99% mission effectiveness rate. Mullaney was next selected as commander of the 123rd Maintenance Group in 2006, leading subject matter experts teams to Ethiopia, Kuwait, and Yemen. 5 years later, he deployed to Afghanistan as the first Air National Guard officer to lead Agribusiness Development Team. During the deployment, the group of Kentucky Army and Air National Guardsmen conducted more than 250 missions in support of government stabilization. During his career, Neil has been recognized with numerous awards and decorations, recipient of the Bronze Star, Meritorious Service Medal, Air Force Commendation Medal, Air Force Achievement Medal, Joint Meritorious Unit Award, Air Force Meritorious Unit Award, National Defense Service Medal with 1 Service Star, Southwest Asia Service Medal with 2 Service Stars, Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, Small Arms Marksmanship with 1 Service Star, Kuwait Liberation Medal, Afghanistan Campaign Medal with Star, and Air Force Expeditionary Service Medal. Neil recently retired after 8 years as Vice President and COO of Humana's military segment. He is on the Board of Advisors for the Kentucky Veterans Memorial, the Advisory Board for the University of Louisville Military Coalition, and volunteers with the Wounded Warrior Support Foundation. He and his wife, Christine, have 3 children. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in honoring our 2021 Hall of Honors inductee, Neil Mullaney.
Where's Brian at? Brian, where you at? I must have missed the email where it said we were supposed to speak, so you guys are going to get something very raw tonight. Faith, brotherhood, and tradition. I've broke every single one of those. So why I'm up here, right? Proverbs 22:6. Raise your children in the ways of the Lord, and even when they're old, they return to it, right? So I left DeSales in pretty good standing, had great teachers, great education, promptly went to the University of Louisville, and flunked out. Yeah. I affectionately call it my first freshman year. Then I quickly found an organization that would help me regain faith, brotherhood, and tradition. And so I quickly found the ROTC detachment at the University of Louisville, because there's no atheists in a foxhole. There's a brotherhood of men and women in arms, and there's a tradition in the military like no other. And so DeSales gave me the foundation to find that again when I lost my way. And believe me, I lost my way several times in between. That resume that was read does not accurately reflect the person up here today. Lots of failures in between. But with good family, strong faith, and a good God, you can overcome anything, right? So I'm humbled to be up here tonight, because when I think about my classmates, there were a lot of strong Colts in 1983. Pete Wentworth, Scott Endress, David Graves, Danny Call, a lot of large Colt, and I was just in the background. So I just really respect and am humbled to be here. I want to thank you all, and just God bless DeSales and God bless America. Thank you.
Our next Hall of Honors inductee is William Starks, class of '87. As a DeSales student, William was a member of the basketball and track teams. His favorite memory of DeSales is bonding with his classmates, who became lifelong friends. His favorite teachers at DeSales were Mr. Mike Campbell and Mr. Tony Medley. After graduating from DeSales, William attended Eastern Kentucky University, where he studied computer science. During college, William served on the EKU Judicial Board. William is the owner and principal broker of G. Starks Realty Company, where he has worked for 14 years. Prior to a career in real estate, William worked as a computer technician for 24 years at UPS. Currently, his company manages more than 70,000 square feet of commercial space in the Louisville metro area. William's company manages over 200 single and multifamily residential properties throughout Louisville as well. He's been featured in both the Tops and Louisville Business First magazines. Along with owning a real estate company, William is also the mayor of Goldstream, which was voted as one of the best small cities for young couples to live. He is also on the Jefferson County League of Cities Cable Commission. He is the past president of Louisville Real Estate Brokers Association. On top of all that, William is also co-owner of Leverage Property Management and owner of Leverage Maintenance Services. Lastly, he sits on the Louisville Central Community Center Neighborhood Development and Real Estate Management Committee. William's passion is helping people build wealth through home ownership. He hosts young entrepreneur workshops to help teach youth how to purchase homes at an early age. William is married to Christine Starks, and they have 5 children. And also, I found out tonight that he won a breakdancing contest on this very stage while he was in high school, and has promised to share some of those dance moves. So maybe that's after the toast, right? Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in honoring our 2021 Hall of Honors inductee, William Starks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I do have a short speech, and if it is too short, I will break dance. I do karaoke, that's over with. So, first I want to say it's an honor to be here and a pleasure. As I walked through the halls today, a lot of great memories came up in my mind, a lot of friendships that I'll always cherish. I do see some of the teachers that were here, and I do see Mr. McBride, which is one of my favorite teachers as well. One small story about Mr. McBride is I worked at UPS, and I walked in the cafeteria one day, and I saw this guy with gray hair that kind of resembled somebody that was my teacher. So I walked up to him and turned around. He said, "Mr. Starks." I'm like, oh, don't do that. So, but that's my story about him. So it also reminded me that throughout my 4 years here at DeSales High School, DeSales, the teachers, the staff, they instilled in us friendship, brotherhood, and education. And it's something that I always remembered and cherished. But my story is a little different. When I came to DeSales, all I wanted to do was graduate. All I wanted was 4 years and out. And I did that. But it always stuck in the back of my mind that I didn't do my best, and I know I could have. So I graduated in '87. I met my wife in '90, and I needed somebody to tell that to. So I told my wife constantly how much I regret not doing my best in high school. So from that point on, I started overachieving, just trying to get back that high school days. And then I started having kids, and then I just started every day, don't miss your high school days. You're going to regret it. Go to prom, go to this. And I beat it into them so much that, they're like, "I got it, Dad, I got it. So, but because you never know where the finish line is. Some people's finish line is down the road, some is right around the corner. But you got to keep going in life to see where your finish line is. And live with no regrets, and not because you don't get a second chance in life. So throughout the years, it always just was in the back of my mind. I mean, I told everybody about it, my friends, my family. Man, I wish I could have did more, and I hate that I, blew my parents' money and not really did what I wanted to do, but I've made up for it in life. So I say that to say to my kids today, you never know where the finish line is, so keep going. It might be around the corner. And now 32 years later, I can finally put this to rest because I think I've righted my wrongs. So I want to thank the teachers and staff, Mr. Winkler as well. I really want to see all my kids succeed. I want to thank Rick Blackwell for our conversation we had. I want to thank my wife for 31 years of being with me, beside me, in front of me, and putting up with me. I want to thank my kids for being open to what I was saying. I want to thank my friends that are here. I have 3 friends that are here, and each one is 30 years of friendship each. So that's like 90 years of friendship that I can never get back. Yeah, they're old. I want to thank my brother. He's here today, and he's actually a DeSales alumni as well. I want to thank my other brothers and sisters that couldn't make it today. They all helped raise me. I want to thank my aunts that are here because they were in my life too, and they helped raise me as well. And it made me the person that I am today. And lastly, I want to thank my parents, which they're not here, but they made it happen. So thank you all, and may God bless you.
Well, I thought he said he was going to break dance. Maybe I misunderstood. Our next Hall of Honors inductee is David Winkler. David attended St. Margaret Mary before graduating from St. X in 1963. We try not to hold that against him. In high school, he worked on the school newspaper and yearbook. After graduation, David attended Bellarmine University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in English in '67. He furthered his education at the University of Virginia, earning a master's degree in English in '68, an educational specialist degree from the University of Louisville in '85. David began his career at DeSales in 1974 after stints at Pikeville College and University of Virginia. He taught English at DeSales and later served as principal. Throughout his career, David was an exemplary Catholic school educator and administrator, earning several awards and recognition honors from the Archdiocese of Louisville and other employers. David led DeSales through some difficult times, all while leading by example and never asking anything of anyone that he wouldn't do himself. He has impacted countless young men both in and out of the classroom. Those very values carry on in his life today, as David is an active member of St. Raphael Parish, where he serves on committees and boards, along with working at several of St. Raphael's events. He is a volunteer coach at Highlands Youth Recreation, Highlands Community Ministries board member, volunteers with the Kentucky Derby Festival Pegasus Parade, a volunteer tutor at Brooklawn Academy, and a volunteer tutor, proctor, and high school liaison at Nativity Academy. David's favorite memories of DeSales including all the debates, storytelling, and joking that went on in the faculty lounge, the feeling of community among everyone at games, fundraisers, and other school events, the festivals and picnics under the big trees on the front lawn, all the talented, diverse, and dedicated faculty and staff members, senior retreats at Mount St. Francis, and hearing the graduating senior class sing at Baccalaureate Mass at the cathedral. David is now retired after spending 40 years as a teacher and administrator. He is married to Joan, and they have 3 children. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in honoring our 2021 Hall of Honors inductee, David Winkler.
Well, they've saved the oldest for last. First, my sincere thanks to the Alumni Association, the Hall of Honor Selection Committee, President Blackwell, and the entire DeSales community. It is definitely an honor to be included in the DeSales story in this way, alongside colleagues like Rex Robinson and Barbara Heiss Morgan, and former students like Jamie Finn and Paul Brown. I'm very grateful to be standing here tonight. I also want to thank my wife Joan for her encouragement and support throughout my career in education. While I was lesson planning or grading essays, proctoring ball games or mixers, selling pool tabs or working in a picnic booth, she was often juggling the demands of her own career as a CPA with that of mother and homemaker for our family. Thank you, dear. Yeah, I'll applaud that. It's now going on 50 years since I came to 425 Kenwood Drive for a job interview. And these days, my memory sometimes gets a little hazy around the edges. But I do carry with me tonight 2 lasting impressions of DeSales. The first is that the place never sat still for very long. Some individual or group was always lobbying for a way to make something better. Faculty and staff members, parents and students and alumni would work together on grassroots projects, including raising funds to help pay for the operation. I recall heavy-duty work tables and a new kiln for the art room, a bedroom in the old monastery converted into a photographic darkroom, a fun run in Iroquois Park, a new baseball field, a bookstore closet converted into an early computer lab, a spelunkering club, expanded retreat programs, updated science labs, and new signage in the front of the building. Some part of the facility or some program could always be made better. So for a new teacher or administrator, DeSales was an exciting and satisfying place to be. It was easy to get involved. The second of my lasting impressions has come with the passage of time, and it puts the first one in better perspective, I think. Looking back as a retired teacher and grandpa, I realized what truly made DeSales special was not so much the work that got done, but the people and the families I got to know in the process. Their commitment to Catholic education, their fellowship and laughter, and their Christian concern for one another are what made DeSales so special and so memorable. So thank you, DeSales, and happy 65th birthday. Thank you.
You hear the clinking of the bottles. Here we go. It's now time for the final toast. So, give them guys a minute to get all the bottles out here. Before we conclude tonight's ceremony, we'd like to end with a toast and the singing of the DeSales High School alma mater, which is located on the back of your event card. At this time, I'd like to invite Tony Medley, class of 65, to the podium to help lead us in the song. In the meantime, please uncork your bottles and prepare for a toast. We have a request for Rick Knoop to come up as well. Rick Knoop, come on up here. See, I was putting too much pressure on Tony, so he asked for help here. It doesn't. We'll do the toast first, and then we'll finish with the song. So please pour. Please pour and get ready for the toast. Those of you who are online, please pour at home and get ready for a toast. JR's on his second bottle back there. It's just a toast, JR. Hey, I'd like to propose a toast to tonight's honorees. May you know how proud the DeSales community is of you. May the dedication and excellence and passion you give to your work serve as motivation for all coats everywhere. And may you continue to be blessed in all that you do. To our honorees. Now I will turn this over because I can't sing a lick.
Please join us.
Join in singing. It's on the back of your program.
DeSales high, DeSales high, we sing our proud refrain. The men of the brown and white will once again bring fame. We never will give in till the job is done, with victory as our goal and the prize is won. DeSales high, we pledge our hearts to you. DeSales high, we sing our spirit bold. Your banner and colors bright we ever will uphold. With unity and strength we have always led. With loyalty and pride we will strive ahead. DeSales high, we pledge our hearts to you.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks to those watching live on the stream. Thanks again for our wonderful sponsors, and good night.